Welcome to Ahead of the Times, where it's either black or white. 0 shades of grey.
Are Muslims in America getting enough coverage?
Apple is working on a car. Will it send Apple data when it crashes?
Ola is interested in tax avoidance, but we know how that goes for British comedians. For the latest on possible hate crimes against Muslims, we go to our senior Don't Hate the Prayer correspondent, Ola.
3 members of a Muslim family were shot and killed in North Carolina in what some are describing as a hate crime and others are describing as a crime. Some are saying that while the alleged shooter hated religion, he was filled with rage in general, and in fact it was over a parking dispute. It's stupid to kill people over believing in God, but over a parking dispute? Jesus. To be fair, a parking dispute is a good way to explain the conflicts in the Middle East. I was here first. No, God reserved this spot for me. The crime initially did not get much coverage, prompting outrage in the Arab world and the Muslim Lives Matter hashtag. For all the crap that All Lives Matter hashtag people got, are we just going to do one ethnicity at a time until it's true? This included the viral tweet, Muslims only newsworthy when they're behind a gun, not in front of it. Though thanks to ISIS and Assad, they're usually both. Despite protests that it should be considered a hate crime, even if it isn't, the shooter may get the death penalty, and then people will protest that too. I think eventually we'll just crowdsource the media coverage. CNN will just post the day's issues and crimes, and you can just upvote the ones your most outraged people aren't paying more attention to. And then people will be outraged that the news only covers marijuana legalization and internet privacy. For the latest in Apple technology, let's go to our senior I'll Take One in White correspondent, Toby.
Apple is said to be developing its own car. The car will initially be fast, but go slower every time they update the software. And it will drive itself, though since it uses Apple Maps, not necessarily to where you want it to go. The car is said to be shaped like a minivan, so the day that it's released, there will be a queue of people who have been waiting since soccer practice the day before. How's Apple going to make minivans cool? By introducing ever slimmer orange slices? The move would put Apple in competition with Tesla, Google, and Uber, plus all the traditional car companies. This is like another parking problem. How many car companies are going to try to fit in this space? Apple's said to be working on it at a secret location, but how are they going to hide it from Google? They can just check their search history. I think Apple's self-driving car will change the way we drive, because drunk driving won't be a big deal anymore. Well, until we get pulled over by Google cop. For the latest on UK tax avoidance, we go to our senior accounting and finance grad. You just had to throw it in there, didn't you? Correspondent, Ola.
Tory donor Lord Fink described tax avoidance as something everyone does. Though, to be fair, what he meant to say was, it's something everyone he knows does. The comments prompted amazement in the UK at the nerve, and amazement in the US that we still have lords named Fink, and we're surprised when they're bastards. The UK fails to collect £34 billion, or 6.8% of tax revenues owed, prompting Ed Miliband to deliver this fiery speech.
Give it back! Give me back the money!
Some conservatives have described duty-free shops as ways that average people try to avoid tax. You know, average people who pick up a Rolex on the way back from St. Bart's. Duty-free shops are often rip-offs anyway. Here's a £15 bottle of whiskey for £25, but you don't have to pay any tax. Yay! Just as long as that money's not going back into fixing roads or schools. In any case, HMRC defines tax avoidance as following the letter of the law but avoiding the spirit of it. The distinction is blurred when companies hire lobbyists to write letters as well. Ed Miliband has warned of there being 2 Britons, one for the rich and one for the poor, which is reminiscent of the Two Americas platform of John Edwards, though that lost steam after it was revealed he had a love child. He wasn't being dishonest so much as living 2 lives. Tax avoidance is an international problem, as companies like InBev make money in developing countries but record the revenues in low-tax headquarters, so they have an unfair competitive advantage and don't support the countries they operate in. Full disclosure, at Ahead of the Times, we avoid our international tax bill by not making any money. My prediction is that as transparency increases and standards of living rise in the developing world, there will be increased pressure on companies to stop avoiding tax. and the legislation will be rewritten as soon as we can pay a lobbyist enough to do it. Thank you for watching Ahead of the Times, predicting the news since 2016. Please subscribe, share and tune in next week to stay truly ahead of the times.